Let's get into it. Coach Colin here. Very interesting development. I did not see this coming. In the great state of Texas, there is trouble afoot. And also, this is not the first time this has happened, surprisingly. And I'm going to show you a little bit of that. So we got a video of Attorney General, I believe his name's Ken Paxton. Hope I'm not getting that wrong. Because I do respect this gentleman. Ken Paxton, yes, that is the right name. He is conducting an undercover operation, and he has uncovered some very interesting things. I'm going to show you this first, and then we're going to pull over to a video of him talking about it. Attorney General Kevin Paxton launches investigation into reports that organizations may be illegally registering non-citizens to vote. Here we go again, ladies and gentlemen. First, Alabama, and I showed you guys that video. If you haven't seen it, go find it in the videos. I recently did it. Alabama has non-citizens, about 3,200 that they found themselves. They suspect that there's more. The federal government, the Biden administration, will not help them find them whatsoever. Apparently, Joe said something about ice cream and getting to bed early, and he just doesn't have the time. And Kamala Harris, she is just as bad as Joe. So she also had to sleep while listening to jazz music and cooking collard greens. She said something about being black. She's trying to be black recently. So she said she's going to be tremendously late. Colored people time, I believe she said. I don't know. But but I'm kidding around, but I'm not kidding around. The Biden administration would not help Alabama figure out how many non-citizens are registered to vote in their state when they requested the help. Now, Texas is actually seeing the exact same thing happening. But Ken Paxton, he is not putting up with that. He's actually been going into a little bit of investigation. I'm going to go back to that article, and then I'm going to show you another article that's going to be surprising as well, especially when you find out when the article is actually from. Let's get into it.
Some breaking news. Your staff notified me late this afternoon. Your office is taking action to stop potentially illegal Democrat efforts ahead of the 2024 election. Tell us what you found and what you plan to do.
So we've actually just started the investigation, but we already know we've been to several DPS locations where you get your driver's license, and where a citizen can normally register to vote. We've noticed that there are nonprofits that are setting up on DPS property, registering people coming out of DPS locations. So what's unusual about that? Well, if you're a citizen of the United States, you don't need a secondary place to go register on DPS property with a nonprofit. You would register inside of the DPS office. That's the normal process. If you're not a citizen and you can't get registered there, then that's the only reason there'd be a secondary location with a nonprofit. So we're in the middle of that investigation right now, trying to figure out how many of these locations that's occurring and how this is all going on.
So if I'm reading you correctly, if you're an illegal alien, you can't go into DPS to register to vote. That's not what's something you can do. That's not legal. So you're speculating that on the outside there are these third-party organizations that are trying to catch those people who are illegal aliens to register them to vote in the state of Texas. Is that what you're investigating?
Yeah, now you can go into a DPS office and lie about it, but there are some verification things that they do to check whether you are a citizen. But if you don't have the ability to register inside of a DPS office, I mean, it's because you're not supposed to register to vote because you're not legal. So why would these organizations be on DPS property registering people to vote unless they're registering people that are here illegally? It doesn't make sense.
Yes, and there are plenty of stories out there, Mr. Attorney General, of left-wing bastions trying to make sure that these illegal aliens who have been allowed to break into our country do have the necessary materials to register to vote. So it's keep us posted on your investigation. Some
very interesting stuff. So now the language that this gentleman here uses is very interesting. He was saying you're alleging, but they are not alleging. They are doing undercover operations. In that article that I just showed you a second ago, Kevin Paxton actually talks about it. They said, oh man, I wish it wasn't so small, but where's the part where they talk about undercover? The investigation has already confirmed that various nonprofits have been located outside the Texas Department of Public Safety driver's license offices, operating booths, offering assistance to voter registration for persons doing business at the driver's license office. Now, this is, let me see here, identification. Yeah, so this is actually an undercover operation that's going on right now. And there it is. There it is. So recently conducted undercover operations to identify potential voter registration for non-citizens. So this is not speculation. He has actually been looking into this because of some concerned citizens actually blowing the whistle on these little booths that are getting set up. It's very interesting stuff, because if you are very illegal, I say very illegal because let's say you don't know the language and someone can kind of tell that you're not a citizen. Maybe they hear you speaking Spanish or whatever language, and then they call you over and say, oh yeah, you can register. Would you like to register to vote? You know, that whole thing. You know, they can argue that they're just trying to make sure everybody's registered because voting is important. But you can also argue that they're trying to kind of skirt the system a little bit. You couldn't register to vote in there because you're not supposed to, just like Ken said, but you can come and do it here, and we're not going to verify anything. We're just going to register you. And that's actually what's been going on. Now, another article that I said I would show you here, 7 facts about non-citizens illegally voting in Texas. Now, let's move right along. There's 7 things we need to know. No one verifies citizenship of people registering to vote, right? That's number 1. Number 2, state officials have failed to keep non-citizens off Texas voter rolls. Okay. Number 3, check this out. 58,000 voters flagged as non-citizens voted across multiple elections. Check out number 4, non-citizens identified by DPS are lawfully present. 5, flagged voters cannot be immediately removed from register. So that's very interesting. They can't remove them immediately. They have to flag them first. I don't know how all that works. And when they go to vote, are the people who are in charge of making sure everybody votes, are they going to be the ones to actually stop them? I doubt that pretty highly. County officials can choose not to act on the non-citizen data. Exactly. So they can look at this and be like, you know what? I want him to vote. He came in, he has a Harris pin on. He's dressed in all blue. He has a shirt that says Donald Trump sucks. I'm going to let him vote because of my political leanings. We still don't know how many non-citizens are registered and voting in Texas, right? And that's the 7. Okay. And that sounds pretty messed up. But when we go back up to the top, when is this from? 2019. What election cycle was that? Huh. Listen, I'm not jumping to any conclusions, you know, Donald Trump is crazy with all his theories, threat to democracy and all that. I mean, so, can't go down his theory of what happened here, but very interesting that 2019, there was 95,000 individuals that were flagged and looked at, 58,000 of them. This is a lot of people, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people in 2019. And this is from 2024, just recently, just 3 days ago. So this has been going on for a long time in Texas. These people are voting, they're getting flagged, more are getting registered. Obviously, think about the millions that have come through. Most of them, they're all going through Texas. I shouldn't say all of them. Large portion are going through Texas. So all of this is very, very worrisome. But amazingly, this gentleman right here is actually making sure that these people won't be able to vote at all. Not at the state level, not at the federal level, not at a local level. They cannot be allowed to vote. And the fact that there are organizations trying to make sure that they register to vote is very dubious. These people will be charged to the fullest extent of the law. And I believe that charge, at least when you vote illegally, the charge is 2 years in prison and up to $10,000 in fines. I would think you would have a similar type of punishment if you were actually registering these people by the thousands. Very interesting stuff. I can't wait for more to come out. I wish he would have named some of the organizations, because why not if you've actually seen them do this? But this is definitely something that I want to look into more. Like I said, first, Alabama. And here's the thing. Here's the big thing. Do you think that New York is going to be doing this? Do you think that California is going to be doing this work? Do you think Chicago is going to be doing this work? All places that took heavy number of illegal immigrants. Do you think all of them are going to be doing this work? Do you think they even have, honestly, do you think they even have the power to, the manpower to? They don't even have the situation under control. Are they going to be able to actually look at each person and say, okay, or is anybody, they're not even going to take the time. Let's just be real. I'm not going to stay balanced on this. They're not going to do that work. They're going to let whoever's registered vote. And are they doing it in their interests of staying in power? I think so. I have to be honest. I think so. Now, I guess I'll have to put an allegedly on that. But I mean, we've been hearing about this theory for years now. I mean, they've been looking at this. Texas has been dealing with this since 2019. People have been talking about the whole theory of more immigrants equals more voters. And who are they going to vote for other than the people or the party that allowed them in the first place? And probably vote against the party that's saying there should be a mass deportation. I mean, this is simple math, ladies and gentlemen. Very interesting stuff. Texas, pray for Texas. Pray for Alabama, and pray for the rest of the states that are red, that are trying to fix this problem. You know, I think we're going to hear about it next, probably in Florida, you know, because that's another state where they'll actually go after the people who aren't supposed to be voting. But we're not going to hear any news from California, from New York, from Philly. We're not going to hear anything from all of these other places. We're not going to hear anything, 100%, you know. Especially in New York. I mean, the people in New York, the kids don't even know what computers are. The black kids, they have no idea what computers are, right? I don't know if the governor has taught them what computers are yet. She said she was going to teach them what computers were and then get them jobs in AI. So I hope that's all panning out in New York. But the last I heard was Eric Adams saying that the immigrants are going to destroy the city. So I don't know. New York is just, you know, they're pulling from both ends. You know, young black kids who don't know what computers are, they're going to be the next Elon Musks. And also the illegal immigrants are destroying the city. Hey, lots of variety in New York, okay? I don't know, guys. But definitely look into this situation. Like, subscribe, turn on the notifications. It helps the channel tremendously. And other than that, I'm out.